This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Portapique report. A new federal review examines gaps in the RCMP response to the Nova Scotia mass shooting. No space, a lack of parking at the South Shore Regional Hospital leads to missed appointments. And ECMA nominees celebrating the best of East Coast music.
Cold over the next few days, but quiet. But yes, watching another Sunday, Monday storm possibility. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. It's been more than 5 years since a gunman went on a murderous rampage through a central Nova Scotia towns, killing 22 people in what is Canada's worst mass shooting. A lot has been said and written about the events on that weekend in April of 2020. Much of it focused on what the RCMP did and didn't do as they went after the killer. The RCMP's actions are the subject of an occupational health and safety investigation that is only now coming to light. It points to specific things the Mounties have to change. Blair Rhodes reports.
It was the murder of Constable Heidi Stevenson and the wounding of Constable Chad Morrison which prompted an investigation by Economic and Social Development Canada. While it covers much of the same ground as the Mass Casualty Commission, the RCMP have had to comply with the binding recommendations in this report.
There's been a lot of work done on training, a lot of work done on policy revisions, and a lot of work done on equipment improvements.
Superintendent Sean Ault is the Support Services Officer for H Division in Nova Scotia. He's overseen those changes. One of the biggest changes has been in training. Only 14% of officers had taken the Critical Incident Training Program in 2020. That number is now 93%. Nova Scotia RCMP now have the ability to track all their members through the program Blue Force Tracking.
That Blue Force tracking is available on every RCMP computer. It's available downstairs in the command center as well as the dispatch center. And it's also available on mobile workstations in every car, and even every member who is issued a cell phone. And in this division, we're lucky that everyone is issued a cell phone. Blue Force tracking is available there. So very real time, you can tell friend or foe.
Stevenson and Morrison mistook the gunman for one another, a mistake that shouldn't happen with this new program.
If we look at the ESDC report, we had 13 directions, 44 contraventions to Canada Labour Code. As you would have seen in the report, ESDC themselves has agreed that we have either completed or we have an action plan to complete those directions, and that we're compliant with the conditions of the ESDC reviews.
Ault says the mistakes of 2020 should not happen again with the changes that have been implemented.
I think the public should be very comfortable and confident that the RCMP as the provincial police have the training, equipment, and personnel to effectively keep them safe.
Blair Rhodes, CBC News, Halifax.
Nearly half of the members of the Federal Women's Veterans Council have resigned in protest. The council was created by the Trudeau government to improve conditions for women in the military. But as Kayla Hounsell explains, now some members, including a woman here in Nova Scotia, say they're hitting a brick wall.
Jessica Miller served her country for 22 years as a medic in the Canadian Armed Forces. She then felt compelled to volunteer with a group created by the federal government to help deal with gender inequity in the military.
It was a very toxic environment at times.
Now, nearly half of the 12-member Women Veterans Council have resigned in protest.
5 of us Canadian Forces women veterans have stepped down due to the inability to make any change, any transparency in the government, the frustration of not knowing why we're on this committee and what we're doing, being gaslit.
In an open letter, they say they did not have a clear mandate, credible mechanisms to engage with women veterans, opportunities to influence decisions, or dedicated resources.
When women joined the forces.
In 2024, the Standing Committee on Veterans Affairs released a report that found female veterans remained largely invisible and their specific needs often neglected by the Canadian Armed Forces and Veterans Affairs Canada. The Trudeau government said it would respond to all 42 recommendations including creating the Women Veterans Council. Miller says things began to change with the new government.
We asked the minister directly, are these recommendations, the 42 recommendations, are we still working on these? Because we haven't gained any ground here at all.
We also tried to talk to the minister about this.
Ms. McKnight, what about the Women's Veteran Council?
It's pretty ironic when the very council that's put in charge of ensuring that there's action is now saying we're being treated like pawns here.
Why are you listening to
Come back
them,
and
Minister?
talk to us, Minister. Come on.
The minister did provide a statement saying, as a voluntary advisory group, we respect the decision of any member who chooses to move on to other opportunities and continue to welcome their advocacy.
I had to change my morals and values in order to be on the council, essentially.
Miller is vowing to continue to fight for women veterans in other ways. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Sweets Corner, Nova Scotia.
A show of unity in Ottawa today. The Prime Minister is meeting with premiers, with Trump's trade war likely to top the agenda. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston spoke to the media about Trump's recent threat of 100% tariffs on the country.
There are lots of moving parts to these discussions, and the relationship with the United States is incredibly important. So I know that in any negotiation, there's on both sides, there's some people that are kind of out front with more bluster. We're certainly seeing that, particularly out of the United States right now. But I'm hopeful that below that, there are real and significant discussions happening and taking place. And I'm looking forward to kind of hearing from the Prime Minister on the status of those, because that negotiation is really important.
Roads were still slick this morning, so much so it caused a school bus to go off the road in Hammonds Plains. Police, EHS, and firefighters responded when the school bus partially went into a ditch on Everwood Avenue. An RCMP spokesperson said there are no injuries. A driver and a number of students were on board at the time of the incident. Still some slippery roads out in the region today.
Yeah, that's right. The blowing and drifting, as mentioned, Amy, has just been an issue, right? The winds have not backed off and will continue to be a little on the gusty side even as we move into tomorrow's forecast. A sustained near 20, some gusts in the 30 to 40 kilometer per hour range, generally from the northwest. More of a westerly wind for you folks across Cape Breton, -6 to -9. So the cold temps are hanging on, no question, for Thursday. And really, we're not warming up much into the Friday time period either. We've got this trough off to the north. That's going to swing down and at least produce, the chance for a few flurries on Friday morning, but more so into the Friday afternoon and Friday evening time period. That's where we actually could see some light accumulation, especially in through the northeast of the province and into Cape Breton. We're quiet for Saturday. And then Sunday into Monday. Yeah, lots of buzz about this one. Obviously, a coastal storm developing. New York, Boston into the mix with this. That's why we're already seeing a lot of this being talked about in the media. And as we work our way in through Sunday, possibility for us Sunday into Monday that we do get into this storm. The track is, of course, going to be so key. Is it just far enough offshore that we're getting a little brush of this, or are we into the meat and potatoes of this storm, which would be snow and some gusty winds? So we'll talk more about this with your full 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, I'm feeling some deja vu here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Some people visiting the hospital in Bridgewater say the struggle to find a parking spot at the facility is far beyond what is reasonable. They say they're missing appointments and adding stress to their care simply to get to South Shore Regional. Carolyn Ray reports.
These are exciting times here at South Shore Regional because the hospital is undergoing a redevelopment. It will expand the footprint of the facility by 30% and bring in a new MRI and a renovated emergency department. But all this improvement is coming at a cost, and it's causing big headaches for people who need to visit the facility right now. That's because all this work is taking up about 55 parking spaces. I spoke to one woman who had a C-section, and she says days later she missed her appointment because she simply couldn't find parking to get into the hospital. She came back and had to park on a side street and walk into the facility while her mother carried her baby. I also spoke to another woman who's here all the time visiting her father. She says it's very stressful because her mom can't find spots and she ends up just circling the lot, and it takes forever to finally get inside. They say this is really taking a toll on families in the area. Now, the health authority agrees parking is a problem here, but it is calling for patience. It says once this construction is done, another 55 spots will open up, and it hopes that will alleviate some of the challenges these families are facing. Carolyn Ray, CBC News, Bridgewater.
Halifax is exploring cheaper designs for 2 upcoming cycling projects. On Tuesday, Regional Council told staff to change the plans for Novalee Drive and Wellsford Street in Halifax. This would save nearly $2 million. The new plans still fit the all ages and ability criteria for the bike network. The network was originally cost-shared with the provincial and federal governments, but the price tag has risen, with Halifax left to pay about $55 million over the coming years. Councillor Tony Mancini had asked for another look at upcoming projects.
My approach is, can we still connect the biking infrastructure, but at the same time take advantage of the funding that we already have in the bank account from the feds in the province and do it a bit cheaper, but still connect it, but still keep safety in perspective.
Municipal staff are reviewing more future cycling projects with an eye to cutting costs. Nova Scotia's College of Physicians and Surgeons says it has seen a significant boost in the number of licenses issued to doctors coming to work in the province after introducing new ways to evaluate their abilities. Dr. Gus Grant, the registrar and CEO of the college, presented the latest numbers to reporters this morning. The college says there has been a 30% increase in the number of new licenses over the last 3 years. Dr. Grant says new initiatives, including one that evaluates international physicians, are starting to pay off. He says it's cause for muted celebration, as many Nova Scotians still need a primary care provider.
I think we're moving in the right direction, yes. I think we recognize that competency can be assessed through ways other than exams. That's really important. I think we recognize that the world produces a lot of good doctors, and our job is to determine whose training, whose experience, whose individual competencies are suitable for licensure here.
Preparations are ramping up in Sydney to host the 2026 East Coast Music Awards. With the annual awards festival and conference less than 4 months away, nominees were announced today. The CBC's Kyle Moore has that story.
Rose Morrison entertained the crowd at Centre 200 today as the East Coast Music Association announced plans for their gala performances and other events happening for 4 days in May.
Oh, it's really exciting that the East Coast Music Awards are returning to Cape Breton. This community means a lot to myself and artists here.
Reserve Mines native Goldie Boutillier leads the way with 7 nominations. This year's nominees represent a wide range of genres, communities, and regions. Morrison has won 3 ECMA awards over the years.
Just feeling like part of a community is the biggest thing. Knowing that the music is it's a special part of belonging to Cape Breton and to the east coast of Canada.
Another Cape Bretoner getting the nod is Aaron Lewis. He's nominated for Producer of the Year.
I'm super excited. This is the first time I've been nominated for an ECMA award, and Producer of the Year is probably one of the more important ones to me. I take a lot of pride in what I produce, and we had a really great year.
More than 200 performances are planned for May using many live music venues in the Sydney area, plus some outdoor spaces. The last time Sydney hosted the ECMAs, it was a virtual event because of the pandemic.
ECMAs is an important regional player, it's an important national player. We really have a big role to play in taking musicians from Atlantic Canada and elevating them onto the national and international stage.
The event also means an economic boost for hotels, restaurants, and other businesses in the area.
Dollar terms, it's millions of dollars, but the return on investment is priceless, because this is a place where careers have been launched, and this is a platform where industry from around the world has come to recognize this is a small region where amazing things happen.
It all gets underway May 20th. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Sydney.
And there's a frosty look at the Aquatic Club at Carney Lake in Halifax. Ryan's up next with the full weather forecast. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, so we sit next to each other, not just here, but in the newsroom. And if I had a nickel for every time somebody stopped by and said, Ryan, what's happening Sunday?
Yeah.
But, you know, we got a week to get through first, a few days anyway.
That's right. Although there is a lot of questions and buzz about that storm coming Sunday into Monday, which is looking more and more likely. I will say that. And I'm going to leave some time here at the end of the forecast to talk about what we do know and what we don't know. So let's first start with, let's get through what we do know in the shorter term, which is that it is cold out there. Yes, temperatures -8 to -11 out there right now. In fact, -15 at that Collegeville station in Antigonish County. So it is going to be cold tonight. Those winds are from the northwest, sustained in the 20 to 30 range. We're gusting 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. And you know what? That northwest wind is going to be continuing for tonight. Not really backing off too much. So as you can see, the wind chill values firmly into the minus teens here, -20 Sydney and Port Hawkesbury at last check. And looking at the weather systems map, it's pretty quiet. Couple of onshore flurries still up towards northern parts of Cape Breton. We've got this trough that's across Newfoundland and back up into Labrador. That is going to be sweeping southward, as I mentioned earlier, bringing us that chance for some flurries. High pressure generally helping to drive this next cold air south all the way down to the U.S. South. It looks like the coldest temperatures in many, 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 many years. Perhaps the coldest since 2010 in places like Orlando this weekend. So it is going to be very chilly indeed. That, of course, that cold air pushing that far south is going to help develop that coastal storm that we're all tracking. Tonight, temperatures -10 in Yarmouth, -12 to -17 across the rest of the province with those winds from the west in Cape Breton, and it's a northwest wind across the rest of the province. And as we look at the outlook here, you'll see the clouds certainly a little more stubborn here and through the south and west, and this is where we could see a flurry tomorrow, Digby, Yarmouth, down towards Shelburne and Liverpool. A better chance for some sun and even mostly sunny skies towards central and northeastern parts of the province for a few hours tomorrow. And we are looking at, I think, the clouds, well, certainly in the mix. I think we will see some sunshine trying to break through here with an isolated flurry chance. Bridgewater back towards Yarmouth, Digby County, Annapolis Royal, and then Kenville to Halifax. And west of that line, that's where the skies are going to be a little bit brighter. Temperatures, as you can see, are very chilly for tomorrow with that northwest wind persisting. Wind chill values tomorrow morning will be -12 to -15 here in the south and west, and we're going to be into the -15 to -20 range for central and northeastern areas. And into Friday morning, a very similar feel with temperatures -15 to -20 in terms of what it feels like. Friday's temperature highs a little bit warmer, -6 to -8, but this is still very chilly for this time of year. We should be around -1. Note that trough sinking south. This is what is going to be potentially bringing a few centimeters of accumulation, especially the north coast and up into northern Cape Breton. If you're traveling on Friday, that 104 is looking to be the snowiest corridor of the provincial transportation routes. So we'll be watching that. That trough digs off to the south, and there's the area of high pressure coming in. Okay, so the coastal storm. So lots of talk of the last couple of days about a bomb cyclone. So that is a low pressure system dropping 24 millibars of pressure or more in 24 hours. That is a bomb cyclone. This is likely to be a bomb cyclone reaching that criteria. All that means is that the storm is developing very quickly. And when that happens, there tends to be a lot of wind. And so the wind potential is higher with this one than the last storm, no question. But that's really going to depend on the track because the strongest winds are going to be near the center of this storm. Second, the snow. If we get into the snow zone with this, it's going to be heavier than the last round. In fact, if the track is close enough, we could actually see some ice pellets mixing in closer to the track along that coastline would be most likely. And so if there's ice pellets mixing in, it's going to be a heavier shovel, no question. Snowfall totals, it's too early for that. It's too early for that. If you see any maps, don't take them too seriously at this point because it's subject to change. Is the track going to be closer to Sable? It's going to be back between Sable and Nova Scotia mainland or a bit further to the southeast. that's going to take some time. It does look like late Sunday, continuing into Monday morning with the heaviest snow, and then that snow tapering to flurries through Monday. That's the timing right now. Gusty winds, though, lingering Monday night in through Tuesday with some blowing and drifting. So that's what we do know. And of course, there's lots we don't know in terms of actual totals and how much snow we're going to have to shovel, which I know everybody's keen to know, Amy, but lots of time for that over the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's keeping you on your toes, isn't it?
For sure.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
A PEI couple is frustrated with the service they've been getting from a bank. They haven't been able to move their investment because of a problem with how their name was entered. They say it's been a frustrating experience that's gone on for more than a year. The CBC's Laura Meter reports.
Pascal,
that's your name.
Max Deller-Lestage and Marie Pascal knew when they gave their children both their last names that Pascal Deller-Lestage was a long name. But they didn't expect their kid's last name would lead to banking problems.
I think it is a long name, but there are more and more families who choose to keep both parents' names.
It's just my name and my husband's names, so I don't think it's overly complicated. They say when they bought a registered education savings plan, or RESP, for their children, TD Bank couldn't enter the last name because it was too long, so they dropped a space and hyphen. But now they can't move the investment to another bank.
The names didn't match because our new bank did put the hyphen and the space. I would explain to them the situation. They would sort of kick it down the road and asked to get back to me in 10 days, 2 weeks, a month.
It's now been about a year and a half of them trying to get about $6,000 transferred. They've called, emailed, and visited the bank. They don't want to just withdraw the money because they would lose a government grant that gets added on to the RESP. They say they want to transfer the funds to try and save as much as possible for their kids. They found a better offer with more interest.
It's 1 year of schooling for one of the two kids. I'm quite frustrated about it because we've really tried many times to have to change it to just what it should be. So
they say they originally questioned the bank about the name change when they bought the investment, but were told it would be fine. TD Bank was not available for an interview. In an email, a spokesperson told CBC, "We are still looking into the account. We are prioritizing remediation as soon as possible."
Kind of a ridiculous problem when you think about it.
The couple says it should have been a simple fix. They hope sharing their story will get the bank's attention and get their money where they want it. Laura Meter, CBC News, Charlottetown.
Coming up, we check in with the Nova Scotia College of Physicians and Surgeons about their recruitment efforts. A new report says Nova Scotia is making progress on improving access to health care. The College of Physicians and Surgeons of Nova Scotia says it has been able to make significant strides in licensing internationally trained doctors. And for more on this, we're joined by Gus Grant, the college's registrar and CEO. So, time to pop the champagne in terms of recruiting physicians? Or have you made that much headway?
Oh, I think we're still in dry January, aren't we? No, but I think the progress is undeniable, and I think momentum's on our side right now. In the last 3 years, we've seen at the college an increase of around 30% in the number of physicians we've licensed, and the majority of these gains have come as a result of efforts to open the door wider to internationally trained physicians.
So you've made significant changes to the way you're licensing them. Is there more to come in terms of that?
Oh, I think both nationally and provincially, there's going to be more to come. On the national scene, I think the colleges of physicians, the group of provincial bodies that have the same job as I do, are looking to expand the number of jurisdictions around the world from which we can directly license physicians. I think we're also looking in Canada there's such a focus on it now, on removing interprovincial barriers so that physicians licensed elsewhere in Canada can move about
Especially
freely.
in Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, oh yes, so that's in place right now through the Atlantic Registry. But we're looking, I think you'll see initiatives in place to expand that across the country. And locally in Nova Scotia, I think our college has been perhaps the most flexible and innovative of the colleges to look at international physicians through such things as just examining our licensing policies, through the PACE clinic, which I think you're familiar with, a clinic that assesses internationally trained physicians for practice, and through efforts to onboard and welcome our internationally trained physicians.
And we're seeing a growing number of doctors over the age of 60. Is that an issue for you?
As a doctor over the age of 60? Yeah, well, sure. No, in fact, I think the numbers would suggest otherwise. Certainly physicians are staying in practice longer. That's a phenomenon across all professions. So the docs who were 58 4 years ago are still practicing now into their 60s. But the majority of our growth over the last 4 years has been in doctors under the age of 40. So whereas there is a gray population of docs, our population as a whole of physicians is significantly greener.
Okay. Now, Nova Scotia has started recruiting doctors from Lebanon. How did that come about?
Oh, it was a great, typically in Nova Scotia, it happens by who you know. One of my son's friends is one of the Lebanese community. I said, I asked him to explain the success of the Lebanese Nova Scotian community. And he said succinctly, people attract people. Next thing I knew, I was meeting with the Lebanese consul and meeting with universities in Lebanon, reviewing their curriculum, reviewing their residency programs. And before you know it, the province had an agreement in place with a couple of universities there. It's been a wonderful experience.
And of course, you can't avoid the news that's happening in the U.S. Because of that situation, are you seeing more American doctors looking north to come here?
There's two variables there. A few years ago, Nova Scotia was the first province to pass a policy that gave full licensure to physicians licensed in the U.S. So there was a mutual recognition. So that started a migration of American doctors to Canada. But I think in the last year, I think the number is in the last 2 years, we've had 75 American physicians move to licensure in Nova Scotia, and somewhere around 40 last year. I think we're left to, it's easy to speculate as to why they might have come back.
Do you foresee more coming as a result?
I would think so. I think we're seeing a number, first of all, practicing medicine in Canada is a great place to practice. Practicing medicine in Nova Scotia is a great destination. And there would be many physicians in the States who'd want to come here, irrespective of the political climate.
Are you looking at other countries outside of the U.S. and Lebanon? Where else? What's next?
Well, this may be a more complex answer than you're looking for. In Canada, Canadian training is so consistent that a doc is a doc is a doc. Around the world, there's a real heterogeneity of training. so that we're not just looking at jurisdictions around the world, we're looking at faculties within jurisdictions. So yeah, our loyalty is to safe, competent care. We're not terribly loyal as to where that care, where that care comes from.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Coming up, new details released in the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy contradict accounts from federal officials. And Canadian premiers are meeting in Ottawa ahead of CUSMA negotiations with the Trump administration. Welcome back. There are growing calls across Washington for the resignation or impeachment of Donald Trump's Homeland Security Secretary. Kristi Noem is being widely blamed for the heavy-handed immigration enforcement crackdown in Minnesota, including the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens. The president had signaled a willingness to ease tensions, but as Katie Nicholson reports, he's now facing new criticism for some comments he made on Tuesday night.
We just rolled by 40th and Portland and don't see anything. Is there any Kagan Recker listens to the community dispatch for possible ICE activity. He's one of hundreds of Minnesotans volunteering to keep immigrant neighbors safe.
There's been a lot of people taken from the South Minneapolis area, so I'm just running laps and I'm, keeping eyes on cars, making sure everything's safe.
Even though the U.S. president signaled Tuesday there might be a de-escalation of immigration enforcement, little appears to have changed on the ground, days after federal border agents shot and killed 37-year-old Alex Preddy. This Somali mall, usually a community hub, almost vacant. CBC News is not revealing this Minnesota-born Somali man's identity because he fears for his safety.
It's scary. That's the word, It's scary, frightened, uncertain.
Last night, as Somali-born Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar held a town hall.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
A man leapt from his seat and sprayed her with a substance before he was tackled and arrested.
I don't know.
The U.S. president, who has continuously mocked Omar and called her garbage, told an ABC reporter she probably had herself sprayed, knowing her. The Democratic House leader then echoed what Omar herself had called for.
Donald Trump needs to fire Kristi Noem immediately. We know that she is a malignant, corrupt, pathological liar.
Noem is under increasing criticism for the way she mischaracterized Preddy and his death. Even some Republicans favor a Noem exit.
She clearly doesn't know how to manage. She's never managed a large organization, and she's failing at every possible measure of the job.
One other development of note, the two officers involved in Preddy's shooting, now both placed on leave. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
American ICE agents will be in Italy during the upcoming Olympic Winter Games in Milan. U.S. officials say they'll be protecting American delegations and will not be involved in any immigration enforcement operations. But still, many Italians are concerned. Megan Williams reports from Rome.
This is not the kind of ice that Olympic organizers here in Italy were looking forward to featuring in the Milano Cortina Games. Italians are extremely upset at this notion that ice will be coming to Italy to back up the diplomatic security. Now, Italy's foreign minister, Antonio Tajani, is trying to downplay the issue, pointing out that this has happened again in the past with ICE accompanying the diplomatic service. But of course, what's true also is that this is a very different kind of ICE. Italians, just like Canadians and many other people around the world, have seen those images and those videos of acts of violence carried out by ICE against American citizens and non-citizens alike. Opposition MPs yesterday in the region of Lombardy, where many of the events for the Olympics are going to be held, they protested. Other opposition leaders, pretty much all of them, of all different political parties, have expressed their deep concern, as have ordinary Italians. Here's one woman in Rome expressing her concern.
Non li vogliamo assolutamente. Non vogliamo questo mondo, quindi che li tengano, anzi li rinchiudano tutti perché sono dei pazzi, nazisti, fascisti e poco.
Now, it's worth pointing out that Italy lived under fascism for 20 years in the last century. It ended in the mid-1940s, a fascist regime that collaborated with the Nazis, and that also had a paramilitary group. Now, that's not the same, we can't make it an equivalency with ICE, but it's an alarming situation for Italians. And they will be protesting at the opening of the Olympics in early February to make their concern known. Megan Williams, CBC News, Rome.
A new report from a U.S. think tank paints a grim picture of Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. The report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies says the number of people killed, injured, or missing during the war could reach 2 million by spring. According to its data, Russia's military has suffered 1.2 million casualties since early 2022. That includes up to 325,000 troop deaths. Ukraine has seen about 500,000 military casualties, including up to 140,000 deaths. February 24th will mark 4 years since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion of its neighbor. These are not always amicable gatherings, but today, one day before a meeting between the Prime Minister and provincial and territorial leaders, there are signs of unity in the face of unpredictable times. However, as Rafi Boudjikanian reports, that unity could still face internal challenges.
It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to sit down.
Prime Minister Mark Carney with an opportunity to appear as a convener.
We don't always agree on everything, but I think we've got a really solid base to start on.
The premiers of Alberta and BC have been at odds over Ottawa's preliminary plan for a new oil and gas pipeline to BC's northwestern coast, a difference Carney is looking to settle.
We've got some work to do, of course, and consulting with First Nations, but we've pledged to keep the Premier in the loop as those conversations go on.
Alberta is not yet at a phase where they have even identified a site where the pipeline is going to exit to. They haven't identified a proponent that will be paying for it. The MOU requires a private proponent. They haven't engaged with First Nations along the coast or received consent related to that. So they are at a very early stage in this project.
But as all 13 of Canada's provincial and territorial premiers gather, there is more uniting them than keeping them apart. A trade war with the U.S. president that seems nowhere near done. A White House official again targeting the Prime Minister today.
I've seen what happens when a technocrat tries to pivot and become a politician. It never really works out well. So I would just encourage Prime Minister Carney to do what he thinks is best for the Canadian people, not his own virtue signaling.
On that front, no criticism of Carney from anyone in power in Canada.
I think the Prime Minister has stood up for Canada. I think all of us as premiers want to stand up for Canada. Let us not allow other people to dictate to us how we govern.
We've showed a united front, and it doesn't matter what political stripe the premiers come from. We have a very, very close relationship with each other, and we work together and we work things out.
But that unity will likely be tested further in the months to come. An American official commented recently on how he's keeping an eye on Alberta's separatist movement. And a Quebec provincial election expected later this year still has the Souverainist Parti Québécois ahead in the polls, and it's promising to hold a referendum on Quebec separation. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
The Bank of Canada is holding its benchmark interest rate at 2.25% as inflation remains stable and the economy adjusts to American tariffs. The bank governor, Tiff Macklem, made the announcement today.
Our forecast for economic growth and inflation in Canada has not changed significantly since our October projection. As the Canadian economy continues to adjust to U.S. trade restrictions, we expect the economy to grow modestly and inflation to stay close to our 2% target. However, uncertainty around our forecast is heightened.
Macklem said uncertainty remains unusually high because of upheaval in international relations and upcoming trade talks with the U.S. He said it's too early to tell how the Canadian economy will adjust. He said the timing and direction of the next policy rate is difficult to predict. The FIFA World Cup is still months away, but for people who want to come here for the tournament, the Canadian government is warning of misinformation spreading online. CBC News has translated videos on social media making false claims about the country's immigration policies. Lisa Shing reports.
Videos posted to Instagram and TikTok, like this one in Urdu, tell people they can get a special visa for the FIFA World Cup, a package including tickets, consultancy, and embassy fees for about 2,000 Canadian dollars. This one in Hindi shows a young man promising Canada isn't going to refuse any visitor visas, urging people to submit applications for family members too. Similar promises, all of them misleading, says immigration consultant Mandeep Litter.
So if you see any advertisement for a guaranteed FIFA visa, there's no special FIFA visa.
Anyone coming for the games has to go through normal checks and balances.
They look at your ties, your finances, whether you can visit Canada and return to your home country. That's one of the main factors. But agents in countries like India are trying to sell this visa as a guaranteed way of getting into Canada.
Analysis from the CBC's visual investigations team revealed the social media accounts connected to these posts are based in multiple countries, including India, Pakistan, and Canada. At least one was deleted within minutes of us reaching out. This one claimed travelers can work, even settle in Canada. When Qatar hosted the 2022 World Cup, hundreds of migrant workers were hired to build the stadiums. But Canada's venues in Vancouver and Toronto already exist, a message the federal government is trying to get out across the world.
So if someone's saying, if you pay me this, I can get you a job visa to go to Canada to work on the World Cup, that's false. That's a scam. Don't fall for it.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre tells CBC News it's receiving reports of FIFA-related fraud and that this kind of activity increases around major global events. It's also warning Canadians to be on the lookout for other types of fraud, including ticket scams. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
One of Canada's wealthiest men is under fire for planning to sell a property that would be used as a U.S. immigration processing facility. The U.S. agency known as ICE has faced widespread condemnation for its aggressive enforcement tactics, most recently in Minneapolis, as we reported earlier. Yasmin Renea reports on the storm swirling around Canadian Jim Pattison.
This giant Virginia warehouse owned by Canadian billionaire Jim Pattison could become an immigration and customs enforcement facility. In a letter to county officials, the Department of Homeland Security says it wants to buy the property in support of ICE operations, adding it may build holding and processing spaces and a guard shack.
Folks don't want to live next to a pseudo prison of sorts.
Pattison, one of Canada's richest people, owns dozens of businesses, from car dealerships to grocery chain Save-On Foods. His company's real estate division bought the Virginia site in 2022 for about $7.6 million US. But now the county estimates its value could jump to roughly $50 million after improvements.
I think it's the kind of thing that companies need to think through pretty carefully.
Other Canadian companies have been criticized for doing business with ICE, including Ontario armored vehicle manufacturer Rochelle and BC tech firm Hootsuite, which according to the Globe and Mail is offering social media management services to the agency. It's all legal, but amid Donald Trump's immigration crackdown could tank public opinion, say ethics experts.
If I were a CEO, I wouldn't want my name or my company's name, my brand associated with what's going on in the States right now.
The leader of the BC Green Party now calling for a boycott of Pattison businesses.
I think as Canadians, we need to be crystal clear about who is driving, who is contributing to the crises we're facing, and how we can step up and take real actions.
BC's Attorney General is also urging Canadian companies to act carefully.
To make decisions that would not lead to some of the outcomes that we're seeing unfold in the States.
In a late statement, Jim Pattison Development says it listed the property for sale publicly and only became aware of the owner and their intentions with the building after the sale was accepted. While acknowledging how heated this issue has become, it wouldn't comment further on the sale. Yasmin Renea, CBC News, Vancouver.
Canada's main stock index finished higher today, helped by gains in the basic materials sector, while U.S. markets were mixed. Let's take a look at the numbers as we go to break.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
You know, I think the snow would be a little more tolerable if it wasn't so cold at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's true. You do need to bundle up if you're going to go out and enjoy the snow. It's almost like you knew what picture I have, even though you don't know what picture I have, but it is a fantastic segue to this picture. Have a look. We're zooming in on a very popular spot. This is Ski Martok, and yes.
Yes, it'd be cold on the slopes, wouldn't it?
For sure. But Cal Kilcullen said absolutely perfect skiing right now. And I'm guessing both Wentworth and Martok are just absolutely perfect. Thanks to Cal for sharing this. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. So as we look at the forecast moving forward, note if you are heading to Martok or Wentworth, or you're going to be out and about tomorrow, yes, we do have the winds to contend with yet again, gusting in the 20, 30, 40 kilometer per hour range for tomorrow, with some sunshine on tap for most of us. A chance for some flurries down towards Digby, Yarmouth, Shelburne counties, Bridgewater, maybe an isolated flurry as well. Those northwest to west winds, 20 gusting 30 to 40, as we said. And then for Friday, looking at those temperatures, -6 to -8. We've got flurries on tap for Friday. Cloudy skies, and yes, there are those flurries. They're going to be working their way through as that trough moves through. Could see a couple of centimeters, especially towards the northeast of the province. Saturday looks quiet as an area of high pressure moves in, and that area of high pressure, again, is so key as to where the track of that potential Sunday, Monday storm, I say potential, but looking more and more likely all the time. Temperatures will be closer to the freezing mark this time, so as I mentioned earlier, the snow would be a little bit heavier to shovel.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Get ready. Okay. Well, we are just 1 week away from the 2026 Winter Olympic Games in Italy, and two powerhouse freestyle skiers will lead Team Canada into the opening ceremony. Olympic gold medalist Mikael Kingsbury and Marielle Thompson have been named Team Canada's flag bearers for the upcoming Games. Kingsbury is widely considered the greatest mogul skier of all time. He's coming off his 100th World Cup win, making him the first freestyle skier ever to accomplish that feat.
Thompson is ranked second of all time in ski cross and was the first Canadian ski cross racer to win a Crystal Globe. Now she has 4, along with 36 World Cup wins. The opening ceremonies kick off on February 6th. I can't wait.
Exciting, yeah. All right, that is it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.